Okay, coffee. Let's see, what do I need to do today? I have to walk the dog. I need to mow the lawn. I have to pay the power bill today. I need to get some cash from the ATM. I have to get the tires changed and get a tune up. Oh man, I need to get gas in Donna's car so she can get to work. We need groceries. Oh, and I need propane for the barbecue. I really need to work out today, and I absolutely need to hit an AA meeting. Oh, yeah, and I'm supposed to call my brother back, and I need to call my friend too. When am I gonna get this all done?
Hey, honey, let's start with our video first.
Oh, that's a great idea. Hey, if you're watching this and your chest is tight just listening to me, don't worry. That mental checklist right there is exactly how my brain used to sound every single morning before we built a proper plan. It was completely exhausting, and thankfully, we don't live like that anymore.
Welcome back to Rebuild with Clarity. I'm Donna.
And I'm Terry. Today we're talking about the daily overwhelm and how to actually survive it without losing your mind.
When you are in the middle of rebuilding your life, your mind is already working overtime. You're trying to process everything from the past while at the same time worrying about how you're going to handle today and the next day.
That's the truth. When your to-do list spirals out of control like the one I just rattled off, it does not make you busy. If you are anything like we used to be, it paralyzes you. For people in our situation, overwhelm is actually dangerous because it triggers the freeze response. You look at a list of 20 things, your brain short circuits, and you end up sitting on the couch for hours doing absolutely nothing. And then the guilt sets in. Or worse, the stress gets so high that it threatens your sobriety, your mental health, your financial stability. The very first step to fixing this, is getting the noise out of your head. As long as those tasks are bouncing around in your skull, your brain literally thinks they all need to be done right this second.
Instead of carrying all that weight in your head, a simple first step is to just to write it down. Grab a pen and paper, then list out those items, the power bill, the family obligations, and any other chores that are on your mind. Once you have everything on paper, those tasks become much easier to manage.
Once you can look at the list objectively, you have to sort it. And you have to be completely ruthless. And you do not have the luxury of trying to be a superhero for everyone else right now. We break everything down into two categories: must do and can wait. A must do is something that will cause immediate damage to your life, your health, or your foundation if you ignore it today. Let's look at that old list of mine from the opening. Paying the power bill is a must do. Going to my AA meeting is an absolute must do. If I lose my sobriety, I lose everything else on the list anyways. And getting gas in Donna's car is also a must do because she needs to get to work.
Now look at the can wait list. Mowing the lawn? That could stay on the list until tomorrow. Those extra household projects do not have to happen right this second. And it's okay to let them go for now.
But what about the people in your life? You might feel pressured to call your brother back right away, or you might be asked to watch your grandkids. When you're completely overwhelmed, those requests usually need to go on the can wait list. It's okay to say no to babysitting when you do not have the energy, or at least you can ask them to plan it out ahead of time.
That is a great point. We also should remember that joy is important too. So spending time with your grandkids brings you joy and it's on your terms where you actually have the time, they can actually be a priority. But for things that just feel like an obligation, it's perfectly fine to ask for a little grace and take a step back for a day.
And when you give yourself that grace, look at how the picture changes. We took a list of 13 items that felt impossible and reduced them to 3 or 4 things that actually matter. Setting priorities is not about delaying chores, it's about choosing to protect your energy instead of draining it. You now have permission to completely ignore the rest of that list today and let it go.
And here is a great part. You might only need to write every single thing down once, just to organize your priorities and let go of the panic. After that, your planning becomes intentional. Terry and I still use to-do lists, but because we know our priorities, they do not cause us stress. This is exactly why we include a weekly calendar template inside Rebuild with Clarity. It lays out your whole week with clear spaces for your must-dos, daily tasks, and even fun things you want to do. It provides a solid structure, and it completely takes the guesswork out of my mornings.
Unloading every single worry onto a page like I did earlier is just what you do when you truly feel overwhelmed. But once you get that solid structure Donna's talking about, your list stop being a panic button and start becoming an actual plan.
A great example is how I handle my schedule. I sit down over the weekend to plan out the whole week. At very least, I always plan my next day the afternoon before. That way, my priorities are completely set before I even wake up, and I place my absolute must-dos earliest in the day. By setting that structure in advance, the morning panic is completely gone.
But if you're still in that overwhelming phase, how do you actually start your short list of must do's? There are two strategies you can use, depending entirely on where your mental bandwidth is at that morning. The first strategy is what we call the heavy lift. This is where you just get the hardest thing out of the way first. What is a one task that has given you a knot in your stomach? Usually it's making a difficult phone call. The anxiety of avoiding it drains your energy all day long. If you have the energy when you wake up, knock that stressful task out immediately. The massive relief you feel will give you the energy to breeze through the rest of the day.
But let's be real. Some days just getting started is a struggle. That is where the second strategy comes in, the momentum builder. Instead of facing the hardest thing, you intentionally pick the fastest, easiest task on your list just to cross something off and get a quick win. Before I even tackle that, I always start my morning with my Bible plan, praying, and getting my cup of coffee. Then I find one simple task to give myself a head start.
Something simple I do is letting the dog out in the morning. I usually take my cup of coffee outside and do that at the same time.
Exactly. Let the dog out is a perfect example of a quick win. And honestly, whether you choose a heavy lift or the momentum builder, the goal is exactly the same. When you finally cross a task off your list, your brain releases a tiny bit of dopamine. It feels good and it builds confidence. You do one thing, then another, and suddenly you have the momentum you need to handle the rest of your day. You're tricking your nervous system into feeling capable again. Before we wrap up, we should talk about the things you can never cross off your list. As I mentioned, my non-negotiable is reading my Bible plan and praying, and of course giving Terry a hug. Those are the things that keep me grounded and make for a better day overall.
That's a vital point. And for me, it's returning Donna's hug and checking my schedule for the day. I ride my bike and hit an AA meeting about 3 or 4 times a week. If today is one of those days, making them happen is absolutely non-negotiable. Now, what happens for many of us is we get overwhelmed. The very first things we usually cut are those things that maintain our mental, physical, and spiritual health. We say we're too busy for a support group or we do not have time to work out. This is a massive trap. For people rebuilding their lives, these maintenance items, they're not optional. They're the guardrails keeping your car from going off the cliff. Whether it's reading your Bible or going for a walk or attending a meeting, if you start cutting your support system to make room for chores, you're going to eventually crash. Prioritize your recovery, your mental health, and your physical body. Everything else is secondary.
Rebuilding your life with clarity means accepting that you cannot do everything at once, and that is perfectly okay.
Put that list on paper so it is not taking up space in your mind. Separate the must-dos from the can-waits. Do the hardest thing first if you have the energy, or start with the quick wins to build momentum if you don't.
And don't forget to take a moment at the end of the day to acknowledge your progress. Celebrating those wins builds the confidence you need for tomorrow and protects your peace of mind.
That's right. And never sacrifice your recovery for a to-do list.
You do not have to figure this all out on your own. If you want the structure that Terry and I developed from rebuilding our own lives, visit us at rebuildwithclarity.com to find the master blueprint. It's a structured method to help you take back control, giving you a solid foundation for getting your life back on track for your next chapter. And now that you know how to manage your daily priorities, click out the video on the screen to learn more how you can set goals that you can actually achieve.
Take a deep breath, pick one thing from your plan, and just get it done. Subscribe to our channel for more encouragement, and we'll see you in the next video.